how to grow potatoes like a boss. So I took about 6 potatoes and I got about a bucket full. You want to plant your potatoes in an area that gets about 6 to 8 hours of sun, and your soil pH needs to be between 5 to 7. So these are my potatoes, fully grown and live and green. And this is what potatoes will look like when they start dying back and getting ready to harvest them. So the whole plant is weeped over, everything's grown over it, and they're ready to be harvested. I'm going to give you guys this quick demonstration of how to plant potatoes. It's not hard at all. So, take this spot for example. I did this on the other side of my yard. I have very clayish soil, and I mixed in grass and fire. I mixed in ashes from a fire that I had. So, dig down, little hole, take this little guy, pop it in there, and just boop, flatten it out, and that's it. You just, real quick. So, something that a lot of people don't realize is that you could have terrible clay soil. I live in South Carolina, and potatoes, as long as you loosen the clayish soil up for them to break through, they will break up the clay soil. And I got a really good harvest out of only like 6 potatoes. I got pretty much a whole bucket full of potatoes. So potatoes have something called eyes, and that's where the plant grows out of. And you can cut them up into separate chunks. I don't ever do that. I've noticed that when I do that, the plant has a harder time getting up and growing faster. It just doesn't have that extra oomph that it really needs to keep it going. So I just plant my potatoes whole and just let them sprout up through the ground. Usually I take potatoes that I just couldn't eat from the grocery store quick enough and just throw them in the ground. You got a free bag of potatoes in about 2-3 months. And I see people do this all the time. Whatever you do, don't do this. Don't go buy potato starch from the store. Just go to the grocery store, buy a bag of russet potatoes, gold potatoes, whatever type of potatoes you want, and just throw them in the ground. It's cheaper that way. So, I'm using a shovel harvesting my potatoes currently. You're not supposed to do that. This is what a potato fork looks like. I'm too broke to buy one. I'm a broke college student that works all the time. So I cut some of my potatoes in half. You know, you lose some, you get some, but at the end of the day, you're still getting potatoes. So the Colorado potato beetle is a huge problem for many farmers. I've never had to deal with it. But something that I have dealt with that I've noticed helped a lot this year was earwigs. Earwigs like to eat the potatoes. They hole into them and they drill into them. So what I did to fix that is I planted garlic throughout my garden. Bugs do not like garlic, and kept a lot of the pests away. Get this up with my hand. Some of the potatoes in there are so tiny; they're the size of your thumb. Just not even that, maybe just like the tip of your thumb. And every single one of those, they just grow a whole new potato plant. And sometimes potatoes can become a little bit of a weed in your garden. I'm okay with it because I love potatoes. I'm a fat boy, I'll admit it, at heart, but so just be careful when you're going through getting all those little tiny potatoes. Something else that's really nice about potatoes is they don't need much water because their potatoes hold so much water in them. The plant would draw from it when it needs it. So just water maybe like once a week. That's what I did. Maybe once a week. And we had a great little harvest, and I barely watered the potatoes because the potatoes were like the one thing in my garden. They do really good in clay soil. Everything else doesn't really do good in clay soil. That did really, really, really good. Another thing that's really important is after you guys harvest your potatoes, you guys don't want to eat them for about a week. Potatoes are toxic when you first harvest them if they're green. Mine I could probably get away with, but I'm still letting them sit just for safety because they're filled with a chemical called solanine. I think I said that correct. And because like almost everybody watching this isn't rich because the economy is so crazy right now, just make sure you're rubbing your hands through the soil pretty well and trying to search for those potatoes. Just use your fingers, get in there because you'll find them. They'll just come up. It's crazy. It's kind of like a nice little like scavenger hunt. The secret to growing potatoes is making sure your soil is loose. So that's what I do is I put grass clippings in and I mix that in. That gives that the organic matter it needs, and it kind of makes the soil more fluffy. And yeah, that's probably the most important part is making sure your soil is loose. Those can turn into a potato. All these can recreate a whole nother plant. This is good for the soil, especially the clay soil we have around here. Potatoes are the easiest thing to grow. The Scottish people, or no, it's Irish people. Or what people say they like survived off potatoes?
The Irish potato famine?
Yeah.
I hope you don't delete that for your channel. I hope you let him know that you don't know what the Irish potato famine is.
The Irish potato famine. You guys have nothing to say. These are the easiest crop to grow. And then this is all garlic.
The problem wasn't that they didn't have potatoes. The problem was that all they had was potatoes. Everything was potatoes.
Well, they just need to learn how to do better at gardening.
Okay.
This is all garlic right here. These all would have turned into garlic bulbs and everything. Learn how to live a more sustainable way in your life, and learn on our adventures from our failures so you don't have to. Thanks for watching.